What's up, y'all? My name is Seth Packan, and this is where small town brains talk about big city nonsense. This is Podunk Perspective. Podunk Perspective. We are back with the Raised Rowdy guys, Matt, Burrill, and Nicky T. How we doing?
Good, brother. Cheers.
Dude, thank you for coming on.
Ding.
I really appreciate it. I think you guys are usually the people interviewing artists, so I'm so happy to have you guys on. Tell us where y'all are from and like how you even got to Nashville. You know.
No, you go first, Nicky.
All right, I'm from like Western Pennsylvania. I grew up about an hour south of Pittsburgh, about like 25 minutes from the West Virginia line.
Oh, yeah.
And then I lived the majority of my adult life in Pittsburgh before moving down in COVID, like 2020.
Hell yeah.
So I got down here October 2020, but I started Raised Rowdy in 2017 with my buddy Jacob back in Pittsburgh.
So were you always like a diehard music fan, I guess? You know?
Music has been the thing that is like, I always say like I have obsessions because I'm ADHD, but like my obsessions,
Seriously.
You know how they go, like they change, right? So you'll be obsessed with something and then you'll get obsessed with something else.
Yep.
And that thing kind of falls by the wayside.
Yep.
My constant has always been music.
For sure.
It hasn't always been country music because like when I was a kid, my dad listened to country, but my brothers, who I thought were way cooler than my dad, were listening to, rock music and,
For sure.
like the Police and all kinds of different stuff.
What's one of the first concerts you remember going to?
There was this local band, the Clarks.
Okay.
They were a rock band, and the lead singer was from my hometown.
Hell yeah.
So we would go see him, but the first festival I ever went to was called Rolling Rock Town Fair. So my dad made Rolling Rock bottles at the glass factory he worked at. So it was like between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. So I went to that.
That's a wild experience. So what about you?
So I
It's not too far, right?
grew up in a New York City suburb called Rockland County. Went to college in New Jersey and helped run my college radio station, which is where I really fell in love with it. My first concert growing up was Tim McGraw, 2003. It was on a school night in the third grade. We were down we had floor seats. It was wild. And from that point on, like the Tim McGraws, the Toby Keiths, like always loved country music. Loved hip hop and rock and all that stuff. But I moved down here October of 2018. So about 2 years before Nick had moved down, little BC before COVID. You know?
From being from like those areas, do you guys get looked at weird for loving country music, or?
I don't think so anymore, man. Like country music, literally, as Brantley Gilbert would say, is countrywide. I'll tell you, some of the most country people I've ever met are from the middle of nowhere in states that you would consider to be northern states.
100%. No, I totally get that.
You get it. You're a Michigan guy.
I'm telling you,
get it.
Michigan's one of the Midwest in general, but
For sure.
it's just one of the biggest states for artists to go play. People love country music out there.
Yeah. And so if you think about like Pittsburgh, where I lived, if you circle it in a map and like a 4-hour circle of there is kind of like where we would go to shows. We were in Ohio more than we were in Pennsylvania because Philly was a long turnpike ride, which is expensive.
Yep.
And so we would go, anywhere from like kind of like State College all the way out to like Columbus area for the majority of our shows.
So did y'all meet here? Did you know each other before?
So we knew each other. I remember, I love telling this story. So, I had watched what Nick and the gang were doing out in Pittsburgh because I was very involved in like the New Jersey, New York, Eastern PA country scene. And Nick was posting about going to shows in Ohio, West Virginia, Western PA. So I was like, man, this Raised Rowdy stuff's cool. Like, and I would see who was on the Raised Rowdy all new country playlist and be like, oh, this Ryan Nelson guy, oh, this Muscadine Bloodline guy, oh, this Lainey Wilson girl, like, oh, this Luke Combs guy, and go off of what him and the crew were blogging about and posting about and who they were going to see. But the first time that I was exposed to Raised Rowdy was their Whiskey Jam takeover. Ironically, it was back in the winter's days. I had just moved to town. This was back when I used to green out before when I'd go out to events, and I'd just see me and my boys that I worked with, that I did security with, would see how many pen rips we could take to still be coherent. And I remember watching them. It was the first Raised Rowdy takeover of Whiskey Jam, 2018, like probably November of 18, or it might have even been January of 19.
I think it was January, because we did like January.
Yeah, it was in January, like right around when Ward does his anniversary every year. Yeah. And I just remember seeing that lineup and then seeing Nick and seeing like the OGs from back in that day and being like, man, I don't want to go up and bother these people. And now it's like fast forward, I'm a co-owner hosting Raised Rowdy events, and we really became buddies. You did another takeover of Grady Saxman Sunday School during CMA Fest, and that was when
which
we really
was that OG Live Oak, which the first one was when it was still Frisky Frogs.
Yeah.
And then the second one was when it just turned to be Live Oak.
That was the CMA Fest of 2019, so CMA before COVID, and I hadn't even started hosting events yet. And we became boys, and then during COVID, I'd get home from a round or an event, whether it was one that I was hosting or another one, and I would text Nick, and based on how quickly he would text me back, I'd give him a call, and we'd just stay on the phone and be talking about artists.
Talk through artists, like this person. He was like, have you heard of this person? I'm like, no. And I'm like, you should check out this person. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just like what you do with friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how'd you land on Raised Rowdy? Where does the name come from?
Yeah.
What made you hone in on that?
Yeah, so we had kind of the whole start of the thing was we had a group of friends that would go to concerts together, right? Of course. But the one in particular was we went to our buddy's bachelor party, and we went to a festival called Country Concert in Ohio, in Fort Loramie. And then most of our buddies were not allowed to go back because it was a bachelor party, and they're like, you can't go do your bachelor party every year. But me and a bunch of my buddies' older brother and his friends all kept going back. So our group chat at some point, which wasn't even like a text group chat because those weren't as easy to do back then, turned into a Facebook group like on Messenger called the Rowdy Gentlemen of Leisure.
That's
like through time, right? But there was already a company called Rowdy Gentlemen, and that's of course like it was just a dudes group chat, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So when we made for Rowdy Gentlemen of Leisure, we made like a shotgunned beer can logo. Gosh, I guess like 2015 maybe.
We still have the flag. We still have some of the OG koozies.
Yeah. So we made like 22 shirts for the 22 friends we had going to the festival, right? And one of the people didn't come, so like we gave one to a girl. She was like, I want a shirt. And I'm like, we actually have one medium left, you know, because it was just for our crew.
For sure.
And then we bought 250 koozies because that's the number you had to buy to make them like
cheap,
not $2 each, you know. So we made 250 koozies. So the shirts, of course, were on the backs of all of our friends, but the koozies we had. So everybody kind of went home with some of them. We gave a lot of them away at the festival, but some of them made it home with our friends, and some of them made it into the hands of some bands.
Dang.
So like the Cadillac 3 had koozies that said Rowdy Gentlemen of Leisure and had our Twitter handle.
That's so cool.
And the guys from John Party, we met John Party, but we're like, hey, will you give this to Terry Lee?
Yeah.
Because like Terry Lee Palmer is like one of the baddest mofos on the land at guitar,
sure.
but also like is the brand of Raised Rowdy.
Yeah.
You know? Like hard partying, just like fun dude, right? So that kind of, my buddy Jacob at the time, one of my friends that I'd been friends with for like 8 years, had a buddy in Virginia that went to a meet and greet with the Cadillac 3. Nice. And his pitcher, Jaron, the lead singer, had a Rowdy Gentlemen of Leisure koozie. And this was 3 months after we gave it to him.
Right.
So Jacob was like, dude, there's something here. Like, you're too passionate about this. Like, we have to figure out something to do about it. So honestly, like, I was like, yeah, but like, what do we do? Like, I'm always telling my friends who's cool and like talking about what's next in country music, but what is that? Yeah. And so we figured it out, and each put in $3,000 to register the website, make the website and get things rolling. And then we just didn't pay ourselves any money for 6 years, and here we are.
Right?
No,
and I think that's such a cool story because it's like you truly are passionate about it, and you can see that through what y'all bring to the table, right? And I think what's even cooler is you started this outside of Nashville.
For sure.
Technically, right?
Absolutely.
And you brought it here.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's very often where something started outside of Nashville and is brought here and it's usually, you start it here in Nashville and you bring it outside to these other cities.
Yeah.
And that's just really cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, just passion for music, man. I mean, like, I made most of my best friends in the last 20 years through our shared passion for the same things.
For sure.
And that's really what you become friends with anyone with. Right?
So how did you know, like, oh, I wanted to bring on this Matt guy,
Yeah, well, as Matt said, like, we talked about, he was doing events. He was hosting In the Round at the time. His podcast was kind of leaned more towards, like, the songwriting side of things. And then, like, COVID hit, and I stopped doing my podcast. I had a radio show back in Pittsburgh.
Right.
So I kind of took the time I was spending on my podcast and started doing my radio show. And kind of, because I wasn't doing any remote podcasts. I was just doing in person while I was in Nashville, or if artists were coming, I was doing green room pods. So I was getting 15, 20 minutes, like what a radio interview would be with some of these baby acts before they had radio interviews,
So what was that pivot point where, like, you were like, we're moving to Nashville? Or, like, was that a decision y'all made together, or you just happened to
Matt
move
was already
at separate
here.
times?
I was already here. Well, you got to talk
right.
about what I like to call the colonization of the Rowdies coming to Nashville.
100%. So we had folks, like, so my buddy Derek was like one of my best friends from college. He moved down here before me.
Right.
So when he moved down here, he was recently divorced, and he was, like, out hanging out. And we had just started Raised Rowdy.
Right.
So he was out and saying, oh, my God, you got to check this person out. We just saw him at Whiskey Jam.
And his handle was
Raised Rowdy, Derek.
Everybody in the crew had Raised Rowdy in their handle.
Even some of our friends that just drank beer with us. You know what I mean? So it looked like we were an army already.
That's really
but it was mostly just, like, our buddies we all drank beer with. Dang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's wild.
So it was like, it was just our crew, and some people were doing some things. Like, if you go back and you listen to the earliest Raised Rowdy podcast, Derek and John, so that's my best friend from high school and my best friend from college, are on those episodes with me.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Derek was who said, you really need to check out Joe Fortner. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard his music. He's like, no, his live show is insane. You got to like, it's like Southern rock. It's great.
Absolutely.
So I had like people here, and then John moved down before I did too. So my best friend from high school and my best friend from college, maybe not like while we were in high school, but like that I kept up with all through college, both moved down here before me. Dang. So, and then we met Chris Yao, who was a guy that was like heavily in the scene here, and he loved like more traditional country before it was cool to love traditional country. Yeah.
And Trey Bonner, Brad
Absolutely.
Curry.
Yeah. So Trey Bonner, who still shoots video for us now, and it like works with Grant Gilbert and Trey Lewis and a bunch of our friends. He was shooting videos for us and had Joy Beth Taylor and Hunter Girl and Trey Lewis before any of them had any smoke.
Right. Yeah, so like let's hit on that because you TM'd and did some stuff with Trey.
Yeah.
So how else are y'all involved in the music industry? Because I know both of you, you have other things you guys are.
Yeah, so I'm just full Raised Rowdy right now. I did obviously do a lot of work with Trey with the Muscadine guys before that. But a lot of our stuff, and I'll take meetings with artists and take meetings with like new tour managers or merch guys or merch girls that want to talk about the life, so that's kind of my role within it.
Yeah, but I mean, he was on Trey's camp even after he left the road with Trey.
For sure.
So he was doing radio marketing for Trey because he was in the radio back in there. And then we were helping Trey out for a while as well, just like trying to help him with the Thomason project and kind of getting the idea of like what he's trying to do with like, Trey Lewis as well as like the new thing Thomason.
Yeah, we were on those weekly marketing calls for a while.
Yeah.
So you were with him during during the Dick Down and
Oh, we could tell the DDID story is legendary, bro.
Yeah.
That was wild. I guess I can probably tell that one. Because Nick when was the first time you had heard it?
When we did summer camp too, when there was no festivals, because we would always go to CMA Fest, like our whole crew, and then we would go to country concert in Ohio. And when there was no festivals, our friends were all very depressed. We couldn't go to concerts. This is what we did. Like when I was in Pittsburgh, every couple weeks we'd go see a show, whether it was in Pittsburgh or somewhere else. So it was a drastic change when there weren't any shows. So whenever it got to the point where you could have 30 people outside together, we threw what we called Raised Rowdy Summer Camp in a campground in like Pennsylvania in the mountains.
For sure.
And we had Ryan Nelson, and we had Hannah Dasher, and we had Styles Hari, who now has a #1 song, he wrote, and some of our other buddies come up and play. And we had like the best time.
Oh yeah, that was another thing where Nick and I became brothers. Was I got the invite and I was so honored. I was sleeping on Carly Rogers' couch at the time. I was in between places, and I remember getting a text from Nick saying, "Hey, we're doing this summer camp thing. Like, here's what it looks like to pitch in for the food or whatever." And then he gave me the address, and I got to go up to summer camp too, and it was awesome.
Yeah. So we were like, "All right, we'll do this. We're missing our festival. We did it the weekend that Country Concert normally was." And then we're like, by fall, we'll be fine. Everything will be back. And then it wasn't. So we did a second one. And we had Jenna LeMaster and Casey Tyndall.
Ryan again,
because Ryan was always with us.
Yeah, Ryan broke the starter to my car. My car had to get jumped because I left the door open because we were camping, and Ryan put the spark plugs on the wrong thing, so I had no power steering on the whole way back. It was fun.
But also Ryan Nelson was coming up to Pittsburgh and playing house shows for us.
Yeah,
like he'd drive up from Nashville and like crash with us and like play for $500 in my living room of this place in the city I had.
Well, I think that's so valuable now, right? Especially like y'all having those connections up in New York or Pennsylvania, wherever it is, and now you get to say, "Hey, go play this venue, go try this venue." You know, now your hometown people that you're friends with or family, have a chance to go see.
What Nick's talking about is him and his friends contributing into a pot and saying, "Hey, will you come up and play? We're going to pay you, and you just party with us."
Yeah, here's $500 or here's $700 or like here's a hotel that like our friend Britt works at that we can get your room in. You know,
that's tight.
Or if not, like he would come crash on our couch. And we had Ryan do that for my birthday one year. Was like the first time, and then it was like he'd come up and my friends were hardcore Ryan Nelson fans, as they should have been. Ryan's a fantastic artist.
Yeah,
he has great songs, but like the thing that Raised Rowdy always kind of was we were talking about people before they popped.
Absolutely.
Like before they had a publicist, before they had a manager or someone like really pushing them.
Who's one artist that comes to mind that you're like, Raised Rowdy was on top of that, before most people.
I mean, you can go back to the early days with Nick.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we were talking about Riley Green before he moved to town. Right. Like we were talking about Ashley McBride when she was an opener. Like
exactly.
We were making memes about Luke Combs before like he was a superstar.
The Wallen meme you talked about on the ride back yesterday.
Oh yeah. Like, we made funny memes. Like that was a big part of what Raised Rowdy was. Before everyone was making memes, and it was extremely easy to do. We were just like bootleg photoshopping shitty memes. Right. Cultural. It's all cultural things. Yeah. So it was Wallen during mullet days, and it was we stopped at Bojangles. That's kind of what made us talk about this. I had a meme, and I had a picture of Morgan Wallen with his mullet looking, super luxurious. And I said, Morgan Wallen looks like the kind of guy that would steal your girl and take her on a first date to Bojangles. And it's hilarious. Yeah. Morgan saw it, reposted it on Twitter, and was like, "It's bow time, baby." So we would get interactions, like kind of like batting out of our weight class or whatever, however you say that, of people because we had funny things. And so I sent a hat to Morgan that said "I tailgate good" in Tennessee orange on a white hat. Yeah. And he posted about that hat on his story, and it broke our website. He didn't post a link to it. He didn't post it as a formal post. He posted it on his story. So they had to go from his story to Raised Rowdy to our page to our website. And he broke our website. And this is 2019, before Wallen was like Wallen.
Yeah, it's back when he was playing the clubs.
And so, like, you could see the power that he had.
For sure.
Like, even then, you know? And it tore down our website, and it tore down our merch website with traffic.
Yeah.
Like that.
It broke Shopify.
Dude, that's wild. Well, it's crazy because now you look around Nashville, and it's Raised Rowdy hats, you know.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're a fan of music or you're an artist playing on stage.
Yeah,
you see a lot of Raised Rowdy.
And a lot of that has to do, and that was one of the reasons that my family and I wanted to team up with Nick. Is I was hosting events and had a podcast and was like in the scene, but I didn't really have like a brand, you know. And Nick's always done a great job of like, you come and play Rowdy on the Row at Live Oak back in the day. You're playing for free. Here's a cooler of beer. Grab yourself a drink and pick out a hat or a T-shirt.
Absolutely.
You come on the podcast, you get a hat or a T-shirt, like what you're doing here with Podunk. Like,
Absolutely.
it's a way to get the brand out and give it back. Like, thank you for taking the time to come and play for free.
Right.
Here's merch.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, it's like, as we know, some of these newer up and coming artists, they're not killing it, right?
Yeah.
So the little things matter, whether it's a drink ticket or a free hat or a free shirt. You know, it goes a super long way, because that might be the 5th shirt they have in their closet, and that's it.
Well, and it's just like, I remember talking to someone and they're like, yeah, I can't wait to get to play so I get my Raised Rowdy hat. It was like a moment for some of these artists, like getting that opportunity to get one.
It still is.
Yeah,
I still get those comments. Cool. Yeah, Chloe Hubbard, there's a phenomenal young female coming up in the scene right now. Definitely check her out if you haven't checked out Chloe's music. And she was so stoked to get her hat. She's like, it's like they're part of the family. But I want to back up. You had asked about the Trey stuff with DDID. And it was just going back to summer camp. It was Bonner that showed you that, right?
So Bonner came up and he was shooting. Like, we had a photographer come for summer camp, and he was just like a cappella saying, Dick down in Dallas. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, it's a song our buddies wrote that like we sing around the campfire.
Yeah.
And then by second one, it was like starting to bubble a little more.
Yeah, it was starting to bubble because I'd become friends with Bonner. We used to all play kickball together because none of us had our touring gigs. So Alex Maxwell was the commissioner, and the crew, I got invited from having Alex's roommate at the time, Dawson Edwards, who's a great songwriter, great artist, and on Travis Tritt's crew. And I would go over to Dawson and Alex's house and watch NASCAR with them and drink Busch NAs while they're crushing natural lights and stuff. And they invited me to play kickball, and that's how I met Trey Lewis and met Ella and met Joy Beth and that whole crew, which Bonner was already in there because he'd been working with Trey and been buddies with them. And there we would have, I'd have them play my round, but the round would end during COVID times by 10 o'clock. And then we'd go to Trey and Ella's house, or we'd go to our buddy Nick Haynes' house, or we'd go to Maxwell's house, and we'd sit around a fire. And that was one of the songs. Everybody would play their songs and smoke and drink. And I introduced a lot of people to cigars at that point, you know? And that was kind of where Trey was like, I want to, but I've been doing music forever. Like, who cares? And then Nick had just moved to town, and Nick used to come out to all of my Tuesdays, and I used to go out to all of his Sundays. Like, we were big supporters of each other. Like, I was wearing Raised Rowdy gear. Nick and the Raised Rowdy crew at that time, Brandy, Heather, Bonner, Derek, they were all coming to Live Oak, and what they would do, that was back when Live Oak had the Busch Light specials, and they would build these ginormous beer pyramids of drinking all the
Heather
beers.
and Brandy could drink.
Heather and Brandy were crushing.
I'm not bad myself.
Especially like 5-6 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
But I had told Trey, I had booked him. It was the first time I think it was the first time I'd had him on a round where it lined up, where he was able to do it, because he was gigging at that time, like playing cover gigs during the pandemic. It was wild. But I had Trey, Ella, Joy Beth, and Maxwell hop on around at Live Oak. Told them all, like, I told Trey, I'm like, you guys are each going to play like your 3 originals. And then he's like, I said to him, I'm like, at the end, why don't you just play DDID? Like, screw it, you know? And he played it. Nick had his phone out, took a video. And that was like the first big viral moment of it.
Yeah. We took that video, and, you know, we thought it was hilarious and it was great. And if you go back and find that video, like, Joy Beth and Ella are like through the whole song.
That's
you know?
great.
And then I woke up and it had 5,000 shares. And I was like, oh, this isn't normal for a Raised Rowdy video. Like, virility was just kind of getting started then. Right. You know what I mean? Like, with videos. Like, I'd never had anything like 5,000 shares.
What a perfect brand to, like, be able to post that.
And he had talked about Bonner doing videos with, like, his friends that were artists in town, primarily from Alabama. There was a video posted 2 years earlier.
Yeah, we premiered
Trey.
We premiered Trey Lewis music videos. like we were Trey Lewis fans.
Pre-Dick Down in Dallas.
Right.
Like we premiered a Trey Lewis music video that Randy McFadden was in, this Jordan Rager's wife, and like had posted videos of Trey Lewis, you know what I mean, that Bonner shot. So like he was already part of the Raised Rowdy story and family.
Like wearing hats, wearing T-shirts.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so I asked him like when he got done playing, I was like, "Can I play that?" He's like, "Yeah," or post it. He's like, "Yeah." And then honestly, like the boys that wrote it kind of did some like PR for it. So like Matt McKinney hollered at someone he knew that was still at Georgia that was like in conjunction with
Old Row.
So like the pot got stirred from that, and they got some organic media.
Yeah, Trey Bonner was posting it in like Call Her Daddy Reddit threads and stuff.
You know, I think that's the funny part, especially at this time. I feel like those are the roots of, like, that song was kind of the roots of putting country music back on the map, because you had everyone and anyone listening to that. It didn't matter if you like country music or not.
Everyone was really sad and dealing with a hard time, and it gave people a reason to smile and laugh.
For sure.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it was funny because like they had like a release party at the house, and I was like, I can't go to that because I'm gonna be at my house and I'm gonna make sure the article about it publishes at midnight on Raised Rowdy.
That's sick.
And the article spin was like, hey, this is the song that we all needed in this time. Like we need to smile and not take ourselves too seriously and just enjoy a funny song with a great melody that for the first part sounds like a regular country song, and then is just silly.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, and that at that time I was still working for Muscadine. We didn't have our gigs, but I had built a good name for myself as like a personality that sold merch, you know, like a personality crew guy, which there's been some other like great ones. Like you think of like JD Groover with John Langston, you know, Brad does a great job with Gary and Charlie now. And Nick actually had me on his podcast like before I had teamed up with Trey. I was still I just started working with him, and Trey needed somebody to sell merch, and you couldn't cancel Dick Down in Dallas. Trey was already playing gigs, and those cover gigs just turned into 90-minute headlining gigs. And that's what led me on my 4-year journey on the road with him.
Dang, that's wild. So what did that first, like, I guess, like performance or event you hosted in Nashville look like?
For me?
Yeah.
The first time I ever hosted an event in Nashville, our friend Christy D had an event every year during CMA Fest. So the first one, they had Luke Combs come and basically play a private show. And then the second one was Eric Dillon, who's a fantastic songwriter. His artist career didn't like take off.
Right. He has a song with Luke Combs.
Yes. Multiple songs with Luke.
Yes.
A frequent Riley co-writer. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, just one of the best songwriters. But if you go back and you listen to his original music, it's awesome.
And it was so ahead of its time.
Yeah. Like he actually has a tune like with Luke featured on it. It's one of my favorite too. I haven't listened to it in a minute.
Baseball in the Moon.
Yeah. That song is great, man.
And so the next year they were like, we got to do something bigger. So they had like pop-up events, and they had one at the basement on 2nd Avenue of BB King's. I don't know if they rented it out or if they just like got them to say yes to it.
Right.
And so through my Raised Rowdy connections, they were like, hey, come sell merch. Like that way Raised Rowdy's there. Right. You can sell, you know, as much merch as you can and like help us book some people. So, I mean, they had a lot of great people also, but then I brought some people that were kind of more in the Raised Rowdy family as opposed to their family. And they were like, hey, we're going to have you host it. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, you're going to MC it. And I was like, I've never MC'd anything. You know?
You're like, I just wanted to drink beer and listen to music.
Yeah. And they were like, no, you're going to MC it. So I did. And I wasn't great at it, but it was fine. I knew most of the people's names.
Right.
And I did it while I was probably drinking too many beers. But,
it was CMA Fest, which is the perfect vibe.
Yeah, you know.
But that event, I mean, Noah Hicks was on that. Cameron Marlowe.
Dude.
We had Ray Fulcher, Adam Craig, you know what I mean? Like Kenton Bryant played, and so Singleton came and hung out. It was just like absurd.
That's so cool.
So that was the first I host because like Ward, of course, hosted Whiskey Jams when we did the takeovers for that. And Sunday School kind of Grady had lightly hosted, but didn't even really host.
Yeah, he was just back
kind
up.
Of unhosted.
He was like just back on the drum kit.
Yeah,
playing with everybody.
So, but that was the first time I like emceed an event
Absolutely.
And then I had a radio show back in Pittsburgh, and that's when I got comfortable talking to people.
Yeah.
Because if you can talk to no one, you can talk to everyone.
Yeah.
No.
Very much so.
100%. I can even say it too. Like, I'm going on 60-something episodes, and from my first 10, I'm much more comfortable talking on the mic and, being around artists. And, it's one of those things you also come to realize that a lot more of these artists are just normal people at the end of the day than what people think or what the picture paints them to be,
Yeah.
What is one thing that you would say that artists need to do to have Raised Rowdy notice them?
Good, man.
I mean, coming out to our events is a big thing.
Yeah.
We don't know who you are unless we see you. And we're so busy right now that our events are a lot of the times that we're out. Like, we'll have nights that we pop out, where we pop out to East every now and again. Nick more than me. But a lot of our time is spent on Wednesdays at Odie's and every other Tuesday at the local. So that's a big thing. I mean, we're constantly scrolling the feed. We're constantly texting each other about new music that's popping up on Spotify or any of the other streaming platforms,
The things that I talk about, and when we're there to see a moment, that's, of course, a cheat code, right? Like he said. But there's certain things that I always talk about that, like, make me pay attention. So distinct voice. Do you sound different than everyone else sounds? Right. If I heard you on a playlist or if I heard you play in person, do I know who it is immediately? Right. I think that's one of the really good factors that is between someone that can be good and someone that could be a star. And distinct look helps a lot. I know a lot of people in town, like, I remember when Dylan Marlowe got a record deal. I'm like, all right, well, all of his buddies are going to have to start dressing different or they're not going to get a record deal. You have to look the part too.
It's little things you don't think of, It's so true.
You always have a great way of saying it, of the Halloween thing.
Yeah. I would say, like, if you can't dress as the person for Halloween, they're, like, not doing it right.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to put it.
So, I mean, think about Hardy. You can think about Ella with the bangs.
Yeah,
right? She talks about the power.
She put bangs back on the map.
Think about Meg Maroney. Think about Luke Combs. Think about Jelly Roll Morgan. It's all distinct.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
So and that's, I think, a big part of, like, if you want to have, because part of it is, like, are you great? Are the songs great? The songs have to be great.
Right.
Whether you're writing them yourself, you get in better rooms and learn to write better, or have other people write them for you if you cut songs. Like Cody Johnson does an amazing job of expressing what the songwriters put into songs. But you have to have the songs and you have to have distinct look.
For sure.
And then there's the it factor, and that's different for everyone.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like, when you meet someone, some people you can't look away from when they walk in a room.
Right.
That's
true.
That can be it. Sometimes it's their voice. It's different for everyone. But that's the stuff, like, when I heard Fabrizio, I don't know if you've ever heard Fabrizio.
I think I've seen his name pop up.
Peruvian guy that has just, like, this wildly distinct voice. And I was like, oh, okay. It's often when it crosses my feed, and honestly, sometimes it's a new song will pop that's like the next evolution of what someone did.
So, talk about social media and how it's changed since, maybe 2015 till now,
drastically.
And how artists need to elevate their game and what catches your eye, on socials.
If you're not doing content, you're not really wanting it.
Exactly.
Like, you have to do it.
Oh, yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, my thing I say is, like, if you're not doing social media content, you're not an artist, you're a songwriter.
Right. Well, I think almost in today's day, there's an argument where your content guy is just as important as your band member, right?
Yeah, or you're your own content guy.
Right, that too.
Which is often the case.
Yeah, you put the phone up. Like, there's guys and girls that are blowing up just from phone videos. Like, I think of Jordan Cobb, who's a young, she's a young girl that's still at Belmont. I think she's in, like, her freshman or sophomore year, and she's just posting videos, multiple videos a week of either original songs or cover, and it's just the phone on selfie mode.
Yeah.
And she's built herself up to now where she's got, like, major industry attention, and her following has grown, and it's just her playing the songs that she's written with her friends or songs that she loves in front of her phone for a minute.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you this too, like, my way of finding someone isn't always the same as Matt, and I think that's a benefit.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Matt will see when the wave is starting, and he's like, this is happening. before I do.
Love that. Yeah,
And
that's
my
cool.
thing is like, I'm like, I don't. This person might have 900 followers, but I'm like, there's something here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I don't think there's more benefit to either of those. Probably more to his, honestly.
But like somebody that's been playing the Raised Rowdy events forever, who is just on the cusp of really breaking through right now, is a girl named Aniston Pate.
Yep.
And Nick has been booking Aniston and had a friendship with Aniston for what now, 4 years?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see when things are different.
Right.
When you see enough things, you see stuff that breaks from that mold.
Right.
You know, and for Aniston, I think part of it is her personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Part of it is she definitely does have a distinct look, and the music's good and it keeps getting better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's one of the things I love to see too, and that's one of the blessings we get from having events is like watching someone come into town. Like Ashley Ann, the first time we saw her, she was just a baby.
She was wearing a pink cowboy hat, and she was in her freshman year at Belmont. First time
she
we
was
had
just
her.
a baby.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
it was there. Like she was good, but like watching her now and the confidence she has, and like how she's like really figured out a lane for herself on social media.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, it goes back to that it factor where you're talking about where artists start to figure it out of like they're not trying to be Nashville, they're trying to be themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference where like a lot of people come here, right? And they try to turn themselves into Nashville instead of just being themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of artists screw up because it's like your story, that's what makes you you. That's what makes you relatable, but also different, in a different way.
I think that's so important because everyone could be the same in Nashville, right?
Right.
And honestly, that's how every little hometown is.
Yep.
All your friend group looks the same.
It's so true.
You know what I mean?
It's so true.
But not everyone from your hometown looks like Nashville, and not everyone in Nashville looks like your hometown.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, so you guys are kind of giving us the scoop. Who are some more artists that are like on your guys' radar that you're like,
Oh boy, that's a long list, bro.
I know.
It's a
Give us a
long
few, maybe
list.
3 each or something like that.
Sheesh. I mean, even outside of Nashville, Nicky T could put me on them, but like Cigarettes at Sunset, we listen to it every day.
Yeah, that's a really cool band. They're opening up for Dexter and the Moon Rocks.
Okay. And Old 60.
Yeah, they're like, it's like indie rock country fusion. And that's one of the things too that we hear so much straight down the center country.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you're hearing straight down the center country, it has to be great.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I like the word you used, fusion.
Yeah.
I think that's such a great word of like, they're like that. That's such a cool thing in country music right now. You bring this and you bring that, and then all of a sudden it turns into this great meal, or
Yeah. I think we're seeing some crazy moments too. Like Matt talked about Jordan Cobb. I'm sure that'd be one on his list. Like Anderson Pate, I think the crazy part right now is that there's so many talented females in this town.
There is.
Relative to how many like talented males there are, and I manage a male artist, but like there's a lot of talented females. Even and there's always been,
right?
But I'd say even more now than there has.
And that's something Nick and I have been talking about for probably the last like 2 years now. Like this next wave of females is going to really shake shit up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll let you talk about Jade.
Oh yeah, Jade Joyce.
Okay.
Is it's like bluesy and it's like raw, and she crushes a guitar, and her voice is insanely distinct.
Yeah.
And she's like 20, maybe just turned 21. And when you watch her perform, you can't look away.
Her live show is insane.
And she's gotten reps by going and playing for $5 covers at the Underdog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with her band, and just trying to make enough money that so everybody makes a little bit of money, and just having 2 or 3 friends open, like that's like one of the things that I think, like if you talk about Aniston, her starting Texas 2 and getting in front of people, showing how badass her band is a big part of why she has a booking deal right now.
Absolutely.
And has people paying attention.
No, for sure.
The way that this thing works isn't static, right? It's not like if I go on TikTok and I post my butt off, then it's going to work. That's not life, right? There's 100 avenues. There's so many people posting on TikTok right now that it's like, hey, if you're not posting on TikTok, we're absolutely not going to consider you.
Absolutely.
But what else are you doing to try to find fans? What else are you doing to try to find people that believe in you as much as you believe in yourself.
For sure.
You know, like, and someone like Aniston and Delaney Ramsdale with Texas too, starting that, I think is a benchmark for future people on how to get yourself reps.
Yep.
And how to get yourself out there.
Absolutely.
Because there's not as many club shows anymore.
Right.
No, it is a lot harder to get good at playing live unless you have the ability to do it in like your home market. Like I always talk about Alabama. There's a million places to play. Yeah. Georgia, Florida, Texas, obviously. Like there's these hubs where there's these, Oklahoma has it too, where like the Stillwater scene, where it's like you get your reps before you come out here. Or you have to find the balance of what's enough Broadway, what's not enough Broadway, because there's people that blow up that don't know how to be on a stage.
That's what I was just about to ask. Like, what's the balance of, like, you know, playing in town too much, but also playing in town enough to where, like, hey, come out and see me, label or, you know, booking agent or whoever, you know, like, how do artists, like, balance that, I guess, or how should they?
In my head, I think it's waves, right? So when you first get here, you need to find your people. Right, I always tell people come up and they like want to talk to me at a round or like at our full band event, and I'm like, I am the last person you want to talk to. You want to talk to all these people,
right?
You want to find co-writers. You want to find other friends that you can bounce stuff off of that are trying to do the same thing that you're doing.
Absolutely.
You want to find your Nashville family. You know, the people that when the high tide of one of you guys raises, it raises for everyone. Right?
100%.
Like that's what live events are for.
Yeah,
so that you need to play as often as you can. And not just our events. You need to be playing every live event that you can possibly get on in town to try to find your other people that you enjoy being around and that you think are talented.
Right.
You know?
Well, also, I feel like, especially here in Nashville, it's obviously you want to find your circle, but don't get stuck in like a hub to where like be open to writing with other people, other artists.
Dude, I've been here coming up on 8 years now, and I've probably gone through. Granted, I've had different chapters. Like chapter 1 was me working security at Whiskey Row, breaking up fights and taking fake IDs. I've gone through like probably like 6 or 7 like circles of homies, you know, where it's like you find that too, you know.
And it's it's just life.
No,
you know,
it's just life. You move on. You know.
Well, and dude, I mean, for me, like your friends have babies and they get married and they move out of the city, and like that's normal.
Yeah,
you know. But so back to that, it's early. I think you play as much as you can. Then once you have established like your crew, being out is as important as playing out.
For sure.
Right? Because you still want to see what else is happening.
Yeah.
You want to find, oh my gosh, this person's sick. Let me be friends with them.
But let's also be honest. You don't want to be that artist that you expect everyone to show up to your stuff and you never show them.
Yeah, dude. You know? Yeah, man. Like, you want to go out and support your friends just like you want your friends to come out and support you. And then you want to have those moments at Red Door or at Losers or at Odie's or Live Oak or wherever where you're hanging out and drinking beers with each other. And then then you're like, hey, let's write tomorrow. And then you show up a little late because you're hungover, and then you write a cool song together. You know?
100%. Well, like for people that are thinking about moving here, artists, you know, tell them how important like team building is, and it's like just because you're on a different team doesn't mean they're not on your team. You know,
I mean that's one of the things that I think So as you get out of like I've kind of found my crew, then it's like, hey, I want to show off stuff I have. Right. Whether that's like, okay, I got my full band and I've been dialing it in, playing on Broadway, playing cover gigs, or I just need to dial it in.
Right.
That's when like the Wednesday show comes into effect.
Absolutely.
And then often it's like we'll have people saying, hey, I have someone that wants to come and look at me. Can I play a Wednesday show?
Yeah, we get a lot of that. A lot of that.
So it's like I have a label or a manager or a publisher that wants to come see me. Can I get on one of the Wednesday shows so that they can see me there?
Absolutely.
You know, especially Odie's because it's such a great room.
Yeah, and 100%. A lot of times too, it'll be the industry person, whether it's a booking agent or a publisher, saying, hey, we're looking at this guy or girl or this band, but we want to see them not just come and play for us in our office. We want to see how they are like in the wild, 100%. You know? So we get a lot of that too, especially with the rounds at the local. Definitely get a lot of that.
It's such an interesting thing too, because like we definitely have out of town people that apply to play, but it's hard to, if you're an out of town person and you don't have stuff rolling yet, like no one's gonna stay for you because like when you're playing, oftentimes it's your friends that are the most passionate about it. It's your co-writers that are the most passionate about it. So like we often have people, and someone got mad at me one time when I said this. Like he's like, "Hey, I'd love to play one of these Wednesday shows," and I'm like, "Well, how many people do you think you could get out? Like you could get out to come to this show? Do you think you could get 15 people?" And he got mad at me, and I was like, "Bro, like."
No, it's
some people can.
That's
some people
like
can't.
it's not even just business. It's just like, hey, you want advice? I'm being brought to you right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I'm like,
let's figure it out.
You should probably be playing writers rounds and making friends,
right?
And like being a part of the community so that you have 15 people that will want to come see you.
Yeah, it's almost like the writers rounds are a precursor to the Wednesdays, you know, and that's part of when we've gotten to have so many people play the Raised Rowdy stages over the years. It's because when Meg Maroney moved here, she didn't have a band. Her dad and her brother used to play with her, and so I'd have her on rounds, or Zach Top with Nick with Rowdy on the Row, or Bailey with Nick with Rowdy on the Row, and then in the round back in the day, you know, like you get people before they have bands, and that's part of what made it so great for us made it so easy for us to have people early, because we had them before they had bands. They couldn't play a full whiskey jam yet or a bus call or whatever. They'd come and play a round, and we happened to have the inventory for that.
No, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's like, and then watching people like Emmy Moyen.
Oh, dude, Emmy.
From the time she started playing to how good she is now, and watching her shut down an entire room with one of her songs, you're like, okay, that's happening.
She is one of my favorites to have at a writer's round, because no matter how loud, and it reminds me so much of Joy Beth Taylor, because Live Oak back in the day used to get rowdy as hell, especially on Tuesdays. Like it was, Nick used to joke that it was the reality. Like
my first year here, it was like you would go there and you would see everyone.
You'd see everybody, but we didn't have a merch table set up yet because I didn't have merch. So the entire to the side of the stage of Live Oak was like a pit of like the young songwriters, artists, musicians just hanging out and talking. And when Joy Beth would play, everyone would shut up. And now at the local, it's when Emmy plays, no matter what time slot we put her in, she shuts the bar up.
That's so cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes that happens from like a powerful voice, like, you know, like Rod Davis or Shelby Ray. They can just get a song and then you have to pay attention.
Absolutely.
Emmy and Joy Beth's thing's a little different. It's almost like so quiet that you have to pay attention.
Right.
It's just a different thing.
And the lyrics and the melodies just bring you in. You feel the emotion in a different way versus a powerhouse. It's you feel the emotion in the lyrics.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Sick.
And it's like I compare that to like Ashley McBride. Like that's one of the things that for me, when Ashley sings, that gives me chills is those slow songs.
For sure.
When you just hear the emotion in her voice.
Bible in a 44.
Yeah. You know, that's like one of the things that I think, you know, sets an artist up for going from being someone who makes good music to someone that can captivate an audience.
Yes. No, that's so true. So, like, off the top of y'all's heads, what is the most memorable, best Raised Rowdy event to date?
Oh, God. Well, I have some that were pre-Nick and I working together, you know, from like back in the day. I mean, the DDID moment was pretty awesome. The first Wednesday that we ever hosted over at Winners was Old 60's first full band show ever. That to the point where they got to smoke in a light and sit over the microphone. Jacob said over the microphone, we didn't practice how to end this. We're done now. And now they're selling 4,000 or 5,000 tickets everywhere they go. The release, the night that, it was like a day after DDID came out, we did a birthday party. Nick and I, we co-branded it, Raised Rowdy, In the Round, Whale Tail. And that was a night that every label, every industry person in town came out to see what this Trey Lewis thing was. And it happened to finally cast a light onto who Trey was friends with. Absolutely. Which is as crazy as it is to say, was Ella Langley, Joy Beth Taylor, Matt McKinney, and Alex Maxwell. And all of them a week later signed their publishing deals with Sony. Like, it's crazy, you know? So those are some of my favorites. I mean, Losers Parking Lot was a lot of fun. That's for me. I'm sure Nick has some other ones.
Yeah, I mean, when I got to Nashville, it's 2021 when I started the event. So I'm like 3 years into having Raised Rowdy and just talking about things we thought were great. And it was COVID. So we got extremely lucky to have crazy events right out of the gate. So January through May of 2021, we had all of our homies play, that had been homies with us forever, but we did some big takeovers. So we did a takeover with Big Loud because I had a radio show back in Pittsburgh that I'd played editorial. So it was 9 to midnight. So it was the streams counted so they could see them, but I would play whatever I wanted. Yeah. So I would play Ashland Kraft, who was on their label. I would play Sean Stemley, who was on their label. And I played Larry Fleet, That's Where I Find God, because it was one of my favorite songs. Yeah, and they had found one stream on Y108 in Pittsburgh. And they're like, Mark, why are you playing one stream of this song we didn't send you? Like, where'd you get the song? And they were like, oh, that's our night guy on Sundays, Nick from Raised Rowdy. So we did made a connection with them, and we did a takeover of a Big Loud night. So that was cool. Right when Morgan Wallen dropped the N-bomb and got canceled. And
they were looking for a moment in town.
Yeah. And so Morgan wasn't there.
Right.
But they got to show off how great their roster was.
Right.
Hardy, Lily Rose, Ashton Kraft.
Primetime Big Loud was...
Craig Wiseman.
Yeah.
Craig Wiseman the top writers all came out.
Rocky Block. They had Tierra. It was just like an incredible night. Jake Worthington. It was before they announced they signed Jake Worthington. So we did a takeover at Live Oak. I think it was March of 2021. And I have a tattoo of it, Raised Rowdy. Right? We made a T-shirt, and it was super fun. That was pinch me because Hardy and Ernest and Craig Wiseman were playing at the end of the night. Yeah. And then even before that event happened, I was really good friends and still am with the folks from 50 Egg. So we had a 50 Egg takeover the next month. So in April, we had Shane Miner, Eric Dillon, Jonathan Singleton, Riley Green, and Ray Fulcher all on the stage at once at Live Oak.
That's great.
Right?
Yeah.
Plus all of their other amazing roster that they had ahead of that. And then Sophia, who was managing Ashland Kraft at the time, was like, why don't we do a make-wake one of these? So in May, right before we headed to Key West for the first time, they said, we're going to do a make-wake takeover. I'm like, sick. They're like, Flatland's going to play 9 songs. I'm like, sick. Flatland was like my most listened to artist that year.
Flatland full band at Live Oak.
That's so cool.
One of their, I think they played in Nashville once or twice before that. So it was right when they got with Make Wake and kind of like a coming to town party. Drew Parker, Haley Witters. And they said, oh, by the way, Luke Combs is going to play. So Kurt,
and tell them the Kurt thing.
Yeah, so Kurt is my podcast co-host.
Yeah.
My best friend. And also was shooting photos for the rounds at that time. Got it. And because it was COVID, and he was on a side quest of photography at that time. He's always becoming amazing at something, and that's what he was on right then. So it was his birthday week. It just happened to be that we did that takeover on his birthday, right? So Luke is there. Kurt is hammered, and he makes Kurt get up and play a song with him at the end of the show. On Kurt's birthday, Luke comes playing for free at Live Oak.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so I literally I feel like that whole night I just blacked out.
Was this before Beer Never Broke My Heart or after Beer Never Broke My Heart?
It was after.
After, yeah. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, Luke Combs is selling, at that time, probably 20 or 30,000 tickets. Yeah. It was before COVID. And so it was just it was absurd.
Yeah. That's so cool.
And I got to from that, I got to work with Big Loud. I got to have calls and work with Make Wake. And just this, I'm a guy that runs a blog that knows nothing about the music industry. And then I'm having oh, I don't even know what these words mean that they're talking about, but I'm learning. Right.
Well, you're finding out that actually a lot. You're just not using the same verbiage that some of these other people
I don't know how to speak their language.
Right.
Yeah. But those early ones were wild. And then it went to everyone wanted to play the event.
Yeah.
And it was only on Sunday nights, so you had to come out and play on a Sunday.
Once a month at that time.
Dang.
Yeah. The only time we did twice a month was when we had a takeover, you know? So it was like, it became this thing. And then freaking Big Loud hired me to do marketing for Hicks Tape because they thought my memes were funny on the Raised Rowdy page. You know what I mean? And like, you know, all of that chaos that has happened since then.
Yeah.
But it was like, it started by just being fans of music.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. And Old Live Oak was just such a special place for us. And I really, both of us for sure, but me starting in 2019 and my first event back being June of 2020, like 3 months into the pandemic, we were rolling again every other week, you know? And it was like one of those spots everybody just wanted live music again, and to be in the trenches during that time and to be there for the early spots. I mean, people that came up around that time, you know, like I remember it being a random night that Miranda Lambert happened to be in the bar watching Meg Maroney play. The last time we were able to have Megan, you know, or like Bailey's first time was with Nick on a Sunday. Bailey's first performance in front of anybody ever. He had just been posting videos of himself singing and the big trucks on TikTok, and Nick had him on a round.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And like, it was crazy because Nate Smith was on that one too.
Yeah.
And the round before we had Rob Williford and Andrew Janakis. And Nate was like, I want to play with them instead. And it was ended up Bailey. You know,
That's
like,
funny.
They're homies, and they're of course both with the core.
Yeah.
But that was the other thing too, like with my podcast, right? Like I'd been doing the podcast remotely. I'd been doing it in green rooms, so you get like the first of three or the opener at a club show.
Right.
But when I got to town, I could ask to get a guest and have them come to my crappy place in Antioch and do a podcast with me. You know, it's just, the doors of Music City learned what Raised Rowdy was then.
Exactly.
You know?
No, that's really cool. So what's next to come?
So we've got our busiest summer to date. I mean, we've scaled back. At one point, we were doing as many as 12 events a month in town. And Nick was hosting every Sunday. I was hosting I was helping with 1 or 2 Mondays a month at the Nail. I was doing my every other Tuesday at Live Oak, and then we'd launched the Wednesday, and it was just a lot. So we scaled that back, and are doing the 6 a month right now with some pop-ups. This month we happen to have a few cool pop-ups, which is fun.
Yeah.
You want to tell them about our first Raised Rowdy in East?
Yeah. We've been talking, and Midtown's amazing. We love it. But some of what we love in country music, those people often don't come to Midtown.
Right.
You know? So we've been chatting about that, and culturally, the impact that the scene as well as Nashville has seen from a bar called Skinny Dennis opening in East Nashville has been impactful to the country music scene.
Right.
The thing of traditional country and, like a quality stage that has music every night.
Right.
And honestly, just a great vibe that they have over there.
Right.
So we're doing a Bush Light and, of course, Surfside event there called West Turn. So we've done West Turn in the past, and basically the idea is it's kind of like a writer's round but accompaniment. So we've had like steel players. Kurt, who's my podcast co-host, best friend, is playing it, and it's basically Kurt playing dobro for 2 hours, and we have 2 4-person writers rounds.
Hell yeah.
So first West Turn we had Zach Top play, so we have a pretty good history of that right
And you
now.
could talk, lineup will be announced by the time this comes out.
Yeah. So we have Brennan Clements. I don't know if you know Brennan.
Okay, yeah.
And then we have Will Jones.
Yep. We just had Will on. He actually dropped today, his podcast.
Yeah. And then we have Aniston Pate and Delaney Ramsdale. And then we have Kaylee Hammock, Neil Towns,
That's awesome.
Kenny Whitmire, and Colton Dawson.
Let's go.
So
that's a lineup.
It's more steered towards like the traditional sounding stuff.
Absolutely.
And I think it's gonna be super fun. And it's just a quick 2-hour event, so that way Kurt doesn't have to play too much and he can drink some cold beer.
And then that way it leads right into the house band that's going on over at Skinny. And then tell them what we're doing with the merch that night too.
Yeah, so I've had this concept called Raised Rowdy Faded that we've been like trying to figure out forever. So I've like with my personal money bought a bunch of like not in my size vintage clothes for probably the past like 20 years.
Yeah.
So like old Alabama stuff that's like neon,
right,
and just all kinds of band tees, stuff like that. So we're gonna do a pop up of like some of those pieces, hats,
Heck
t-shirts.
yeah, that's cool.
We're gonna get a clothing rack, hang the stuff up, and we also have a cool Western ringer shirt, like old school kind of looking shirt that we're gonna run with that event.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to like figure out more on our merch line. We just need more money, of course, because we're still very poor. But just again, like we never want to be right on top of what everyone else is doing.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things that we've been focusing on this year, as well as we'll be focusing on in the future, is like really trying to identify things and like, you know, getting a little bit out of stock headwear so
Absolutely.
that, you know, it's not like exact same hat, but someone else has it too.
Yeah,
which
it's hard.
is something different.
It's hard to
on it.
find.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
get into that custom world, find the right partner for that.
sure.
And then the other pop-up event that we're doing, we're known very well for our Butt Rock Night events. We've had some incredible legendary moments, one of them even teaming up with Nickelback for their live album release at Barstool a couple years back. So we are doing Butt Rock Night and Raised Rowdy present Bro Country.
Let's
We are
go.
doing a night with a house band, our buddy Chris Utley and some of his good buddies. We're asking a little bit more of them this time because the butt rock songs are usually like 4 to 5 minutes. They're longer songs, so it's easier to fill up a night. The 2010s bro country songs are all right at like 2.5 to 2:45. So you need a lot more songs to fill the time. So there's 38 songs on the set list that we got the house band playing, but it's going to be awesome. A lot of FGL, Luke Bryan, Brantley, Aldine, Cole Swindell, Thomas Rhett, some Frankie Ballard in there, Jake Owen. Like, it's going to be a very fun night. We got a bunch of artists that are in the scene playing that'll be hopping up, and that'll be May 31st, so the Sunday going into CMA Fest
Look at
week
that.
at Odie's.
What a good kickoff.
And Bush Light's involved in that as well as his Surfside, which is going to be really cool. And then we are out of town a lot this year. That was something that we've been building towards, and something where Nick asked, "How much do you want to be out of town?" You have a lovely girlfriend who seems to be okay with what you're doing out of town right now. Who's got an amazing little girl. Like how much do you want to be away from home? And I was like, I want to just go. Like we're growing this business right now. So we are hosting the Raised Rowdy stage at all the Rock the Countries this year.
Awesome.
There's 7 of them. One in your home state of Michigan.
Yep.
In Hastings in August. We are doing the Raised Rowdy stage at Rock the South, which is an incredible event. We're super stoked for that. And the lineups for that, we've got like Tyler Nance is headlining one of the days for us, the Creekers, Zach John King, like just going to be awesome with a bunch of our good friends and like the kids coming up in the scene opening. I mean, Chandler Walters is an opener on that. Like it's going to be awesome. And then we're doing Tailgates and Tall Boys. This will be our 4th year, technically. First year we went, we famously tent camped, sold merch in a 10 by 10 pop-up tent next to the porta potties. And now this is our 3rd time hosting the festival, which is going to be cool. And
really cool.
love going up to Bloomington. Great 4-day lineup, Father's Day weekend. Then we also have Crossroads 41, which is a ball, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Side stages branded Raised Rowdy, which we're very excited about. And might even be adding some more stuff too. We'll be at Country Concert again. This is their 45th year. Nicky T's, I guess it would be 13th year, counting the COVID year.
Yeah.
13th year consecutively going to that.
Yeah, that's how old I am, bro. I was already 30 when I went.
Tell them who played the camper party your first year.
First year camper party that was FGL. Yeah, they played FGL and Wyatt McCubbin. And so
Wyatt's, dude.
And Wyatt was 17 at that time.
That's even crazier.
Yeah.
Holy
so it was
cow.
Wyatt McCubbin, FGL, and then the exact same sets of Wyatt McCubbin, FGL. But back to the Bro Country Night thing, I do want to mention one of the things that we try to pay attention to is what is culturally happening in country music. And here in town, of course, we get to see it a little bit before.
Yeah.
But like you're seeing the like pot stirring of FGL coming back. You're seeing people like Lauren Watkins and Cody Loden and some of these other bands talking about
Brantley, right?
Yeah.
He's going back to his older. I saw.
Yeah,
I just saw you talk to him,
and you have all the kids coming up that are wanting to. I mean, you could still have a lot of fun listening to traditional and sad songs, but
well, they're talking about that era of bro country,
100%.
right? So, I mean, realistically, this whole thing swings.
Yeah.
And we saw butt rock becoming culturally relevant. Yeah. Our buddy Brian Frazier, who runs that account for us, and by the way, does such a fantastic job.
Yeah, shout out Brian B. Frazier.
Happy birthday today, by the way, Brian.
Oh, it's his birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I gotta text him. Happy birthday.
But it is culturally impactful and was crossing over into the country space. Like,
sure.
That's why we really leaned in heavy on it.
Right.
You know? Country music is swinging back to let's have a good time.
Absolutely.
You know?
No,
and it's such a wide lane. That doesn't mean that sad country is going away or traditional country is going away. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's such a wide lane right now that I think you're seeing the people that grew up listening to Luke Bryan and singing along are now, of course, they're of age to be putting out country music.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? So there's some of that's kind of like leaking back into the mainstream of country. And one of the things I've been talking about this year is like Raised Rowdy needs to be culturally impactful.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what can help the scene and can help these artists more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we're trying to make sure that we're doing a good job representing the culture.
Yeah.
And also, you know, kind of, this is happening and pointing towards it. Mm-hmm. We've always kind of done that with like, hey, this is cool. Right. Now it's like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, you know, I think every artist in town appreciates y'all and what y'all do. I think this town loves y'all. The whole industry, right?
Well, we appreciate them because without talented songwriters, artists, musicians, hardworking industry people, we wouldn't have the events. We wouldn't have anybody to have on the podcast. We wouldn't have any of it. You know, it's an ecosystem.
Absolutely. No, for sure. Well, guys, I'm super happy I had y'all on today. It's been a great conversation.
Hey, you're crushing it, by the way. Congrats on getting to what'd you say the number was now?
We're going on, I think y'all are 62 or 63.
Bro, that's a huge feat. This is a hard thing. This is a hard thing to keep going, man.
And we know there's no money.
Yeah, we know one, there's no money, and two, it's a grind to one, dedicate your time to it, but also to find folks and get their time to do it, man. And you're absolutely killing it and love what you're doing with Podunk, and very happy we were able to come on here.
No, for sure, guys. Well, go check out any Raised Rowdy event. Matt Burrill and Nicky T. These are the guys. This is Nashville.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate that.
We'll see you. Thank y'all for tuning in to Podunk Perspectives. We drop new episodes every Monday. Till next time.